almost like it's
Yeah.
down the river that way. So it's got the strength with it, but it should feel like this just yeah.
It was a lot. It was fun, but mostly it was just like isolated. I mean, it was like, it was.
Nice.
After a while, it all seems
So we're basically talking about looking inside yourself as opposed to ignoring yourself when you train, which seems like that should be kind of common sense. But I think that the whole Western mentality in terms of relaxation has to do with distraction, and it carries over into the way that the approach is for most things. When you look inside yourself, that's a big deal, right? And a lot of times, it can be unpleasant. It can be actually overwhelming, right? You can see things, especially if it's a new process. If you're used to the process, it's kind of like, well, I know myself enough to be like, this is not a surprise. But if you get introduced to the process, it may be like, I really didn't want to see all those things. But you can't change what you don't see. You can't change what you don't notice. And I think that's a big part of any of this work, whether it's Pilates technique, Klein, Feldenkrais, good yoga, I'm going to say good yoga, any of the disciplines, the somatic disciplines, Laban, any of that work, the whole idea, in even martial arts, external and internal martial arts and dance, has you pay attention to yourself, because that's how you're able to do the things that are required. That's how you're able to do the amazing things, right? You're always talking about the focus in the mind and putting the body and mind and breath together. When you're separating these things, there's a lot that goes wrong. There's a lot of people ignoring feedback that causes them injuries just in their general life, and then they go to train and you put force on your skeleton, you do something quickly, and then it's like a catalyst for more problems. So what I like about what you said is that they take it into their lives, because I've often said that the information has to leave the studio where it isn't really worth anything. It's like, okay, well, it's great, it came and we corrected and what have you, and then you walked out and it didn't translate. To me, if it doesn't translate, then it isn't really that beneficial for you. A lot of criticism of some of the techniques where I've heard recently physical therapists talking about, does Pilates technique translate to functional, because the word now is functional strength. Everything, the catchphrase of the moment in commercial fitness is functional strength, because basically they're catching up to the idea that things that you do should actually relate to your life. I mean, we, however, there was never any disconnect, because as artists, as movers, that is our life, and why would I want to do something? Why would I want to spend time, hours, and days, and years doing something that isn't going to be beneficial to my life as a whole? I just find this just be unbelievable. But the focus used to be more on the external when they first developed that whole machine-based world. Now, you have machines in Gyrotonic, and you have machines in the DIM, which you have the selectorized equipment machines, you have the 12 exercises, the pushing, the pulling, the lifting, the lowering. What do you see, if any? Do you see a difference between the types of machines?
Yeah. I think you should have to rephrase. Do we see any similarities? Let's
closer.
I knew I was asking for it, but you know, I have to do this statement form.
Yeah. I just
I
want
know
to
the difference.
go back one little thing,
Sure.
what you were saying, because sometimes we talk about like be in touch, see what's going on inside. I don't think people have to think too much about that. Oh my God, what that means, you know, it's not like a psychotherapy session. No, it's just like be aware of maybe one day you are happy, you are more excited, you know, you had a good night of sleep, something good come up. You can use that energy, that feeling to work out and have a different kind of workout of that day that you are really sore, really tired, you are jet lagged or something. So use that for a different kind of workout, you know. And also very important is to feel like if you have a little soreness or pain, what kind of pain is that? Is it pain because you are hurt? Or is just pain because you were a little sore from the workout that you did yesterday? That's a completely different approach.
Sure.
You have to feel the difference and work properly. Okay?
Understand.
I just thought it.
Okay,
That's
okay.
Good.
So you don't see any connection between the machines in the gym and the machines that you guys use?
No.
No.
You both use resistance, yes?
We use resistance, but it's
To help.
to help, and you have to control it. The difference with gyrotonic is the machines are like they're in a very finite plane. So you're moving it a specific way. It only moves a certain way, and you're just using your force to move it.
Okay.
So in gyrotonic, you are using your force, so to speak, to move it, but you have to control it. So there's nothing keeping you in alignment. You have to find the interconnections to make things smooth and even. So it takes a fair amount of control, and that's why you have to use your entire body
Sure.
to make things happen, as opposed to just literally one muscle group.
That's right.
So it requires
Yeah.
more concentration, it requires more connection.
It's all completely different. Also, especially for the leg exercise that we have, the hamstring series that we call, right? It gives just enough that people need to reach out with their legs.
Okay.
That's all, okay? And it's balancing the weight of their own leg. So they don't need a full abdominal to be able to have a full range of movements with the legs.
So it takes the pressure off.
Exactly.
So they can articulate.
Exactly,
the
and
range.
they can push against something. Same thing for a lot of the, arms exercises. For someone who's not used to work, there is a lot of muscles in their back that they don't even know they exist, and they don't know how to engage. And for us, it's really important that when they use the arms, they engage all the muscles, right?
Right.
So again, the machine is going to help for them to have a little pressure and actually need to use those muscles. So they find them.
Well, I'll come back from the devil's advocate side. I mean, the selectorized equipment is so limiting. Even when I first was introduced to it many years ago, when I first started teaching, a long time ago, in health clubs, because that was the only alternative. Right now we have alternatives. Then it was teaching a health club or you don't eat. They're limiting because they're generally not multiplanar. They're only one plane of motion.
Right.
They're limiting because they literally hold your body up, right? They hold you everywhere there is to be held. And I always tell people it's the same thing if you wear certain kinds of shoes. Have you thought about putting a shoe on your hand for a year and then taking it off and then trying to use your hand? What would that look like? And it's the same thing when you're in these machines that are essentially holding your body in place and taking the responsibility away from the muscles that you need. Like we're sitting here now with no, there's nothing holding us up. As soon as you have a backrest, as soon as you have rest, as soon as you have a structure, then your structure can go to sleep.
Right.
And structures are going to sleep all the time now because people, they're living in luxury. Even if you're not a person who's really of great means in this country, you still have train, you still have bus, you still have elevator, you still have, soft chairs, you still have soft beds, you still have the kind of work that you may do that's not physically demanding, in which case Your body doesn't have to get strong, it doesn't have to stay strong. You don't have to, your nervous system doesn't have to have, all these pathways that are to deal with fine motor skills and things like that. And that's one of the things I like about the system is that it really refines the fine motor skills. And what about gyrokinesis? Because I'm not, at the moment, I like to work, with anything that happens to be around. And gyrokinesis is, I'll let you guys.
Well, the gyrokinesis is exactly the same technique in terms of the same principles, the same kind of movements, but it's all done without the gyrotonic equipment.
Okay.
And one of the greatest things is that you can learn those exercises and do whatever you are.
Sure.
Most of the classes we start sitting in a stool, but if you don't have a stool, you can sit in any chair as long as it's flat,
Sure.
right, and it's not too soft, and you are able to have your spine upright. And with a very small space, you can do a lot of exercises. So it's something really, really good, especially for people who travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's quite a few exercises that are very easy to learn, and once they understand, they can do in any hotel room. So it's very good.
Are most of the exercises done seated?
It's half and half. It's like half seated, half
Yeah.
on the floor.
It also depends because once the more advanced exercises are also standing up.
Okay.
So, but you can do quite a bit, just like laying on the floor or sitting on the floor and sitting next to it.
Wonderful. Well, I'm hoping that you guys will show me a little bit and I can get it on camera and I can show the world this stuff. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
giving me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then because of that, it's this shredding this week. So now that we've done all the practice, this connection.